Well, welcome. Somebody else. Is that Juanita? Juanita's still connecting in. Hillary, did you get in? Okay, if everybody could turn their cameras on, that'd be great. Okay, I'm just going to call out a few names here for campuses. Shakira, how do you pronounce your name?
It's Shakira.
Say it again.
Shakira.
Shakira, welcome. What campus are you from?
Columbia.
Columbia. So you guys are all classmates. Juanita, what about you? Where's Juanita?
I'm here.
Hey, there you are. Okay, are you Columbia?
Cuyahoga
You're
Falls.
Cuyahoga, okay. What about Megan? Megan and Hillary, where are you guys from? Where's Megan? There you
Here.
are. Where are you from?
The Columbia campus.
Columbia? What about,
Columbia as well.
is that Hillary?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I had all the Columbia students also. Amanda, where's Amanda? I know I saw her come in.
Hi, I'm from
There
Norfolk
you are.
campus.
Where are you from?
Norfolk campus in
Oh,
Virginia.
you're in Norfolk. Okay, all right. Okay. Tracy. Where's Tracy?
Hello,
There you are. Hey, what campus are you from?
Columbia.
All right. And then Shamia. Where's Shamia? There she is. What campus are you from?
Columbia.
Awesome. Hey. So who am I looking for? I don't know if these guys are Columbia. Still missing quite a bit. I'll get started. How are you guys this morning? It's Friday. You made it. You almost made it through the first week. So this group is taking peds and med-surg too, for the most part. Right? Okay.
Yes.
Right. So we don't have any classes after this, right after that I have to finish early and give you guys a break, right? Okay. When you have a minute, I take attendance by the chat. All right. So if you guys could just put your name and your campus in the chat, and I'll ask you to do that every week, that would be great. And this is an early morning class. Let's see, I have Columbia, Norfolk, and Cuyahoga Falls. I know Norfolk's on East Coast. Is Cuyahoga Falls East Coast? Or East Central? Ashley and Juanita, you guys Central Time? Juanita?
We're Eastern Standard Time.
What time is it? What time is it for you right now, Juanita?
It's 9:04.
Oh, so you're
AM.
East Coast. All right, you're East Coast. Okay. And then Columbia. You guys are East Coast too, right?
Yes.
So I'm the only one that's had to back up an hour. It's 8 o'clock for me. So 9 o'clock, not too bad. Not too bad. So, okay, well, I'm Professor Marvel, Kathy Marvel. And I will be your instructor this term. I did fill out my instructor page to give you a little bit of a bio. I'm actually going to be a nurse for almost 40 years next May. So that's pretty incredible. Or it went by so fast. I started out in military nursing. I was a Navy nurse. And I went into the hospital setting and worked in women's and children's, was a NICU nurse, PICU nurse, NICU nurse, and then did some administration. Director of Women's and Children's Services at a big hospital in Denver. And then I just retired last year from schools. I was a nurse consultant in a huge school district in Colorado. So that's where I get all my community and public health experience. So yeah, it was great. And now I'm have moved into education, which I love. So I really, really love what I'm doing here. Love Fortis. I'm going on 2 years now at Fortis. I've taught primarily in the RN program over the last 2 years. Then last term and this term, I've been moved partly down to the PN program, PN community. I'm the course lead for PN. So I have a couple of classes in the RN program and a couple of classes in the PN program. So it's a nice mix. So anyway, community. There's a reason why we're taking this class towards the end. What do you think that is? Or actually, I like to ask all these different questions. What have you guys heard about this class? What do you guys know about this class? Anybody excited to take this class? And why do we think we're taking it at the end?
I'm not sure why we're taking it at the end, but I did hear that it can be a little tricky, the course overall.
Okay, thanks for that feedback.
It's
Um,
probably like a good mix of every, like the other subjects that we have, like OB and stuff like that.
Who said that? Ashley?
Yes.
Ashley, you get the gold star for the day. Okay. That's why we're taking it. Why we're taking it at the end. So we're pulling everything together. Okay, we're pulling everything together. Let me just get these few students checked in here. Samira, how do you pronounce your name?
Samira.
Samira, hey, welcome. Can you turn your camera on, please?
I tried
Thanks.
to log in with my phone. I'm just waiting for my computer to.
Oh,
catch
sure.
the internet here. And
Sure.
once it does, I'll be in there.
No worries. Are you from Columbia as well, Samira?
Am I from the Columbus location?
No, what campus are you from?
Columbus.
Oh, Columbus, not Columbia.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. And then Ebony.
Yes, I'm here.
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm
Welcome.
good.
Good. And where are you walking? What campus are you on?
I'm in Columbus.
Columbus too. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Welcome. Okay. Sorry, still letting people in. Atifa? Is that how you say your name?
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing awesome. What, I don't have you on my roster, but that's fine. What's your last name?
Williams.
Williams?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And what campus are you from, Atifa?
Columbia.
Did I say your name right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, awesome. Welcome.
Thank you.
Where was I at? Oh, why we're taking it late. because we're pulling everything together. Think about community. Well, what do you guys think about? What comes to mind when you think about community nursing?
Like nursing in a community, like flu shots, like things like that, to kind of help an entire community rather than like in a hospital. I know there's community-based nursing where like you go out and you go to schools and you see how, you know, how much the flu has caused illness in schools and what we can do about it and stuff like that.
Excellent, excellent. So Haley was referring to maybe the school nurse, because as a school nurse, I was considered a community nurse. What other kinds of nurses do we have in the community? We have home health nurses, right? Hospice nurses, faith-based nurses in congregations. We have school nurses, we have occupational health nurses. We have public health nurses, vaccine or immunization nurses. So the reason why we pull this all together at the end is because when you're working in the community, you're essentially taking care of clients across the whole lifespan, right? You could be taking care of new moms with babies, all the way up to the elderly, to the AIDS population, to the homeless population. So you have to bring all your tools. Okay, community nursing, you have to bring all your tools together, right? Your peds experience, your fundamentals, your pharmacology, your geriatrics, your maternity, everything comes together. And community, this class is med-surg focused as well, because think about it. If you're out in the community taking care of clients, you need your med-surg skills, right? If you're out in the community taking care of a peds patient that needs dressing changes, you need your peds experience and your med-surg experience, right? So what I'd like to do today, I know you've already heard it a couple of times, but I have to go over the orientation PowerPoint. We'll do that, and then we'll go through the module, the syllabus in the module. I will send you out a recorded lecture from this week's content. Okay, I'll send that out over the weekend. I'm still waiting to get the study guide for exam 1. Hopefully we'll have that out to you in the next 24 hours. You'll get a study guide for each of the exams. Then I'm also waiting on the exam review schedule. We put together a master review schedule for exams 1, 2, and 3, and all the professors in community do an exam review, usually the weekend before, or 4 or 5 days before the week of your exam. So for example, your first exam comes up in week 3. So you're going to get a schedule for next weekend. Hopefully it's coming out today or tomorrow, but it will give you all the opportunities to attend live reviews. Okay. And then we all share the recordings with each other. And so you'll get recordings as well. Okay, so they're typically, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So that will already be coming up for you a week from today. Okay, so let's see. This class, I would appreciate if you would just kind of sit back and enjoy this class. Okay, this is different from, it doesn't have a clinical, doesn't have Sims. Okay, this is a class, this is very different from your other classes. This is where we dialogue a lot and we pull everything together. Okay, so this isn't a hard class. Okay, it's not a hard class. It doesn't have a huge amount of work. And from past experience, I would just ask that you just keep up. Okay, there's only 3 exams and a HESI. That's your only KGAs, right? So if you don't do well on exam 1, you're catching up the whole term, right? Because your next opportunity to bump up your grade is not till week 6. Okay, so our study guides are a summary of lectures, readings, case studies. So it's a good representation of the expected knowledge that you are to have for the exams. Okay, so I can't encourage you enough to try and attend a live review next weekend before your exam. I want everybody to do good on exam 1. Okay, there's no reason not to do well in this class. Okay, and I always tell my other classes, just block out a time early in the week and just get your community stuff done. Right, get your discussion question, get your NCLEX, whatever's due. Just get it done, and then community is done for the week. Then you can focus on your other classes, okay? And you need this, you have to pass this class to keep going. So, you know, it's not a difficult class. It's not. But if you fall behind and don't turn in things, it becomes a difficult class. So I don't know, I think somebody said it was tricky. Yeah, there's nothing really tricky about this class. It's pretty straightforward. And you'll see when we cover all of our concepts and topics, we're pulling from all your previous classes. Okay, so this is a class that pulls it all together. So it's not a hard class. It really isn't. And that's why I ask you to just take off your clinical hat for peds, take off your clinical hat for med-surg. You're not in the hospital. We're now out in the community. And I always use a scenario at the beginning of picture yourself moving. You're moving to a different state. You've graduated, you've passed your boards. Sorry, I'm still letting people in. For those of you that didn't hear this, please I take attendance by the chat. Okay, I want to avoid any controversy of people saying they were in class and they weren't, whatever. So I take attendance from the chat. Okay, so please put your name and your campus in the chat. Okay, so you're moving to a different state and you've been hired as the community nurse. You've never even been in that state, okay, let alone the community, but you've been hired as the community nurse. So how do you figure out what's going on in that community? Never been there. How do you do a community assessment? How do you assess the risks? How do you assess the needs? How do you assess the people? That's what we're going to learn about. We're going to pull all of our tools together. Okay. In community, we also use ADPI. We use the nursing process, right? So for an example, an assessment of a med-surg patient in your clinicals, or let's say a pediatric patient. You're doing your peds clinical. An assessment of a peds client in the hospital looks a whole lot different than a peds client in the community. In the community, your clients may be an individual, it may be an entire family unit, it may be a subset of the population, say the obese, the drug abuse, the substance abuse, the homeless, HIV, teen pregnancy. Okay, so we have to be able to take our ADPI and apply it to community clients. Does that make sense? You guys have all heard of primary, secondary, tertiary, right? Interventions. We have to be able to take those and apply it in the community. What does a primary intervention look like with regards to patient teaching in the hospital setting versus what does it look like out in the community? Okay, remember, even if you're not planning on going into community nursing, which is fine, at some point during your careers, you will be working with nurses in the community, right? Whether it's discharge planning, right? Because patients go from the hospital back to their house or over to the assisted living or over to rehab. Those are all community nurse functions. So community nursing is going to be incorporated into any part of nursing you go into. Does that make sense? So remember that so much of the care we used to give in the hospital is now given in the home. All right, so much of the care that was in the hospital is done in assisted living facilities, long-term care facilities. in the home. Clients want to be in their home. So community nursing is pretty broad. As a school nurse the last couple of years, my role turned into a COVID nurse, right? The last couple of years during the pandemic. And community nursing, public health nursing, their exposure really, really increased over the last couple of years with the pandemic, right? Because what was COVID? It was public health. Okay, so I don't know. I think community nursing rocks. I mean, there's so much, there's so many opportunities within the community to work with communities. So I really would like you to just sit back, open your minds, think of yourself in the community, taking care of populations in the community. And one of the terms you'll hear over this term over and over again are vulnerable populations. Okay, that's what we care for in the community. We care for vulnerable populations. Okay, hey, Shannon and Deshonda, could you guys turn on your cameras, please? Thank you. Thank you, Cam. Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. So vulnerable populations, we care for them day in and day out in the community. Okay, they're a huge part of our daily activities in community nursing. And in week, let's see, in this class, I think it's week 7. Or maybe it's week 9. We'll go back and look in the syllabus. You have a vulnerable populations assignment. Trying to get my camera to work. Okay. You'll have a vulnerable populations assignment, and I'll introduce that in probably weeks 3 or 4. If you want to go to week 9 and look at the module and see what it's all about. But essentially, we ask you to pick a vulnerable population within your community, so within your zip code, right? And do a research, a PowerPoint about that. And there's like 6 or 7 things to do. What are the demographics of that population in your community? What resources do they have? What resources do they not have? So that's part of your, the term. That's kind of the big paper that's due at the end. So anyway, that's kind of a real quick summary. That's my mantra I try and give at the beginning, which is just sit back and enjoy this class. It's way different than your other ones. It really is. And learn how we pull all this together. I mean, every one of us live in a community. Every one of us live in a community that has vulnerable populations. Every one of us lives in a community that has different risks. Right, we're all part of a community, and you know, there's a team of public health nurses and community nurses that hold your community together, right? When it comes for caring for the ill in your community, monitoring workplace safety. There's a team of people that do that, and that's your community team, your public health team. A lot of times public health and community are used interchangeably. So, anybody have any questions before we jump into the orientation PowerPoint? And I know that you've already heard all this, but I do have to go through it. I'll try and go through it a little bit more quickly. Anybody have any questions so far? So who's now super excited to take community? It's going to be fine. Just keep up. Just keep up. Don't be turning in stuff late, and don't just keep up. It's not that hard. Okay, keep up and you'll be fine. Use your study guide, you'll be fine. Come to class, you'll be fine. Turn in your stuff, you'll be fine. I promise. I promise. Okay, so I talked to everybody off a ledge, kind of. You guys are too quiet this morning. Come on.
I'm still in an overwhelming stage from the first week of school.
Yeah, I bet you are.
I haven't made it past the first day yet.
You what?
I haven't made it past the first Med Surg 2 class yet.
No. You
But
guys, you
I'm on
guys,
pledge. I'm here though.
okay. Yeah, well, first week is super tough. Just trying to get, and a lot of schedule changes are happening. Yeah, first week is tough, trying to get organized. I'm trying to minimize. That's what I'm trying to help you with, is just, yes, this is one of your 3 classes you have to take, but this class is very manageable if you just keep up.
Thank you.
Does that help?
Yes. ma'am.
Like for example, what I like to do attestations at the end of every class so that we get it done. So I'll ask at the end, we'll pull up our attestation. Everybody pull up week 1 attestation. We'll answer the 2 questions together, and then we'll hit submit, and that's done. So we don't have to worry about that. And then for the group I had on Wednesday, we got done about a half an hour early, and I challenged them to spend the 30 minutes. There was a method to my madness on Wednesday. I challenged them to take that last 30 minutes and go do your professional development plan. Just go do it. There's a template. It's easy. Just ask them what your short-term, long-term goals are. What do you do? What do you currently do? What do you want to do? So I plan to do that with you guys as well. For those of you that haven't done your professional development plan, go do it. Take the last 30 minutes and pull up your template and do it. Submit it. Over, done, Friday morning, it's done. So, anyway, that's kind of the way I think, but I don't like to hear myself talk for 2 hours. This term, it's going to be a little bit different, and that's for all the classes. I don't know if you've heard this from other instructors, but Dean Brown's expectation this term is that we spend the first hour going through content, and then we spend the second hour doing activities. Whether they're Kahoots, whether they're case studies, whether I pull some HESI questions, practice questions, and we go through that, whether I don't know. I'm still coming up with some activities, whether we use the breakout rooms and I assign some case studies and you go into a breakout room for 20 minutes and figure out your case study and come back and present it to the class. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure that out. What we're going to do for our activities. But know that that's the way the course is expected to be designed this term, which is good. Then I don't have to talk for 2 hours. I don't have to listen to myself, and you don't have to listen to me for 2 hours. I really like for my classes to be participatory. I don't call on people. I don't do any of that. But I like for people to participate, students to participate. I really do. All right, let's go to I have much more to say, but let's go to the, what did I say I was doing first? PowerPoint.
Orientation PowerPoint.
PowerPoint, you got it. I'm really not that technologically savvy, so if I forget to record, you can remind me. If I forget to, I'm trying. Okay. I know you guys have gone through this, but we have to go through it. You guys are in term 7, right? I have that right? Term 7.
Yes.
You're 1 away. Okay. So you guys already know what online learning is. We don't need to go through this. Okay. So this is your information slide. Okay. If you have an issue, start with me. Start with me. I haven't heard from anybody in this class about a book issue. Is anybody having any issue with their book? Everybody has the book? How about this? If you haven't even tried to see if you have your book, that's fine. But try it between now and over the weekend, and please let me know. Okay? I need to know if you're having issues with accessing your book. So start with me. And then if I can't help you, I will get with Dr. Lundy, and her information is right here, that about 3/4 of the way down. She is our course lead for RN Community, and her contact information is there. If Dr. Lundy and I can't solve your problem, then the two of us will reach out to Dean Brown. And Dean Brown's information is at the bottom. Okay. If you're having issues with your SIMs, your labs, or your clinicals, those need to be directed back to your campus. I can't help you with those. Okay. I hope you guys have gotten used to using your student resources, because you have a vast amount of resources within that link. And so if you're reaching out to me for questions, I may redirect you back to student resources to try and resolve it. And then if you can't, come back with me. I like to encourage you guys to problem solve on your own. Okay. How do I support you? Obviously, the first contact for any issues, I'm available by email, Canvas, phone. I have no problem if you shoot me a text or give me a call. Just let me know who you are. Just identify yourselves. I have no problem with that at all. I'm good about answering, returning. I'm good about replying to emails. I don't wait the 24 to 48 hours. I usually will get back with you. I get my messages on my phone, so I can get back with you. So I'm very accessible. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. I'm extremely accessible, and I'm accessible to meet morning, noon, night. I realize everybody has busy school schedules and family schedules and work schedules. So I can be totally flexible in meeting with you. I can jump on a Zoom whenever, right? This Zoom, by the way, is for everything. This Zoom is for the whole term. Okay, it's for tutoring, it's for exams, it's for lectures, it's for anything. This is the one Zoom this is my Zoom, and we'll use it for everything all term. You guys know this, you know this by now. When the term starts on Mondays, ends on Sundays. And then you do have, over the course of the term, a couple of Wednesday due dates. And those are your discussion questions, right? Your initial posts are due on Wednesday. And I try and review the module during the week we're covering it. And then I like to skip ahead and talk about what's coming up next week as well. I am super, super, super flexible. Okay. But I can only be super, super flexible to a certain extent. And there's a few slides that I can't be flexible with. And this is one of them. Okay. And I guess maybe I should, let's see. I just want to let you guys know that I am super easy to work with. Okay. Very easy to work with. Okay. But what I really need is communication. All right. I can't help you if I don't know what's going on. And I stress this more and more every term. Okay. You have to reach out to me. I don't need to know. I'm not a need to know, get in your business kind of person. But if you're struggling with being successful in this class, you've got to let me know so I can work with you. Okay. And I mean that is my top requirement. I'm an over communicator. Unfortunately, I kind of expect the same with my students. Just let me know what's going on. All right. If you're having a problem turning in assignments, if you're having a problem, you can't take the test on this given day and it's a one-off. There's been an emergency, you've had a death in the family. You're really struggling to prepare for the test. Could you take it at a later date? I mean, like I said, one-offs. This isn't regular, but you got to let me know what's going on so I can work with you. Okay, the two things I can't do anything about is exams Okay, if you go and take an exam and you bomb it and you say, well, you know, I had a death in the family, I can't do anything after the fact. But I can help you, we can help problem solve before. Okay, and then the other thing I can't do anything with is this slide we were just on, is this late work business. Okay. Number one, I have to, the first requirement is you got to let me know. I mean, when it says get prior approval, of course I'm going to approve it. Of course I'm going to approve if you can't turn it in on time. All right, for whatever you have going on, but you got to let me know first. Okay. And then if you turn it in, then you have up to 7 days to turn it in. Okay. And you get a 10% deduction. All right. But you have to let me know first. So like on Monday morning, if you don't let me know, I have to go put a 0 in there. And there's no chance for you to turn it in within the first week. You got to let me know. And that's where, I mean, in nursing is all about communication. It's all about accountability, responsibility, doing things on time. You know, if you're late with assignments, are you going to be late with medications? You know, if you're late with assignments, are you going to be late getting to work? I don't know. I have no idea. But, you know, I treat this class as if you were already past your boards and in the nursing profession. Okay. And I think that's fair. Right. So anyway, let's go back to the screen, but I just want to reiterate, I'm super easy to work with. If you do your part, I'll do my part. Now we all got to get across the finish line this term. All right. We're all going to do it together. We'll get through it. All right. But you got to do your part as well. Okay. So this one, as far as late work, number one, prior approval. All right. So when I go in Monday morning, I go in my grade books Monday morning, just so I have a feel for what's going on this week. So you guys have your professional development plan, right? So Monday morning, if I go in and let's say 4 students in this class haven't turned in their professional development plan and I haven't heard from anybody, everybody has to get a 0. Even though it says you can turn in things from 1 to 7 days, yeah, that's fine, but it has to be with prior approval. So I have to hear from you. Make sense? Does anybody have any questions about that?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Just don't even put yourself in a position to even be having to use this page. Of course, unless there's an emergency or something's going on and you and I will work something out, you know. Okay. But this is I don't have flexibility with this. And attendance is taken with student submissions. So you got to be careful about this. And you've probably all heard about this. There has to be 2 submissions a week. Okay. And so our attestation is 1. That's fine. Our attestation is 1. And then you'll have opportunities for different additional submissions during the week, whether they're NCLEX questions, case studies, projects, papers. Okay. So that would be your second. There are a couple of weeks, and this is where I talk about working ahead. I don't lock anything. I just don't. I can't keep up with it if I start locking stuff. So I just encourage you guys, be careful about working ahead. So if you do all your 4 NCLEXs this weekend, don't submit them until the week they're due. Because once you submit them into the grade book, I have to grade them on the week you submitted them. And there are a couple of weeks, there's only two opportunities for attendance submissions. Okay, there's a week that I think there's just an attestation and a case study. Right, so be careful. Okay, be careful about submitting stuff early. I like to grade early as well. If you turn in things earlier in the week, like I'll probably start grading some of these professional development plans in the next day or so. So if you turn in things early, if I have time, I'll keep working on them. Or work on grading them. Discussion questions are kind of hard unless you've submitted the peer responses. So if you turn in your discussion questions on Wednesday and you've By Thursday, put in a couple of peer responses. Yeah, I can go grade that. But I can't grade the initial discussion posts alone. I have to wait for the peer responses. Does that make sense? And then live attestation. If you do it in class and we hit submit at the end of class, that's great. You don't have to worry about it. But if you're not in class, you have to do it within 24 hours. And that means watching the recording and letting me know you watched the recording, and then you can do your attestation. Okay. Anybody not posting attendance in 14 days will be dropped. You guys know that. Okay. Nursing, not documented, not done. That goes for class too. This is the other slide that I don't have flexibility with. These are campus, these are university policies. Cameras need to be on at all times when you're in class. Not allowed to be in class if you're driving. I don't care if you're pulled over sitting in your car, that's fine. It's just as long as you're not driving. And then you're not allowed to be logged on while you're at work. Okay, during your scheduled class time. Okay. Anybody have any questions about that? Okay. Key 7 steps to success. I'm assuming that you guys have made it this far, and so you're doing all these already, right? You're reviewing your work each week. You're completing your reading assignments each week. We don't have interactive lessons, so I don't know why that's still in there. Attend mandatory. Oh, that's because this is a generic PowerPoint. And other classes have interactive lessons. Live lecture is mandatory. If something's going on and, you know, again, a one-off, as long as it's not every week, and you've got, I don't know, a doctor's appointment, a kid's appointment, a school appointment, whatever you have going on. If it's something you absolutely cannot change, well, I can work with you. Okay, I will first probably offer you to see if you can come to my Wednesday class. My other RN class that I teach is Wednesday 1 to 3. Okay, so that's the other what I teach. But you can't just show up on Wednesday. We just need to have some kind of arrangement. You're supposed to be in this class every week. This is what you're assigned. But in the event that you can't, we can. And then if Wednesday won't work, then there's 12 other sections. I can try and get you to another live section with another professor. Okay, so I have options. Okay, and you guys already, please read your rubrics and your assignment directions. Because that's how I grade. Okay, and then step 6, complete all assignments. Complete all assignments, and you already know what that means, right? You have to have a 78 for your 4 KGAs, right? Before any of your homework assignments can get kicked in, right? And the reason why you complete all your assignments is what happens if you don't. What happens at the end of the term when you have a 79 or 80 and you've only turned in half your homework?
Your grade drop.
Grade drops and you fail. It's that horrible word, homework fail. Don't be a homework fail, not in this class. I don't usually have an issue with homework with my students because I stay on you guys. Because I've seen too many times what can happen at the end. To be successful, definitely keep in contact with me, internet, reliable internet, whatever your organization schedule is. You've already developed it by now, of keeping everything in check. You do need it. You really do need it this term. I mean, I'm not, this is a heavy term for you guys. It's a heavy term, med-surg, peds, and community. Okay, so you really need to have your organizational skills, your time management skills dialed up for this. It says number 6, log on to class 4 to 5 times a week. I mean, I use the announcements and emails all the time. That's my direct communication line with you guys. Okay. I'm assuming you're reviewing your course announcements at least weekly. Submit all assignments when they're due. Okay, and then be careful, it's in red. Early submissions will affect your later attendance. And in this class, I know I do not procrastinate. I say it every term, every week 1 of every term, but I do have some students that will procrastinate and they just end up struggling all term. Don't do that. Preparation and expectations. You guys know all this. The one thing I do expect is this is Friday. Friday classes are hard, right? Because by the time you come to class next week, there's probably already going to be 2 review sessions that have already happened for exam 3. And I'm not saying don't go to them, but what I'm saying is Friday classes can be challenging. You have to be more creative. Okay? Does that make sense? So when I send out the PowerPoints on the weekend, just take a look at them. Take a look at them and know what we're going to be at least covering in class, what topics we're going to be covering. Have an idea of what we're working on. One of the other group activities I've been thinking about is we base our lecture, our notes, our PowerPoints, our exams, our study guides. A lot of it's based on the chapter objectives. Okay, the chapter objectives are really, really kind of key. They're that kind of central point that we kind of work around everything. And so one of the things I'd like to try is maybe next week separating you guys for a few minutes and going through the objectives and coming back to the class and teaching us all what the answers to the objectives are. With each chapter, you should be starting with the objectives, because the goal is you should be able to articulate or answer or explain or discuss what those objectives are. That's what the whole chapter is about. Does that make sense? So that's what this is right here. In order to be successful, it's expected that you read the objectives and be prepared to discuss the objectives as they relate to the concepts taught in the current week. For example, you look at the objectives at the beginning of the chapter, then you look up the answers for the concepts, right? And you're going to find the answers in the chapters or in the PowerPoints. And remember, the PowerPoints are simply a summary of the chapter. It's not additional information. If you open your PowerPoint and then go to the chapter, that's what it is. It's the same thing. The PowerPoint is just a summary. Right? In class, you maybe end up in a group or called upon to present material to talk about the objectives. Come prepared, because you'll learn, the concepts will stick, and you'll have better outcomes on exams for the course. Okay, so I think if you think of this course as pulling everything together, I think that's a good mindset to be in when you come to the class. You guys have already done this. I have to do that. And remember, you have a copy of this PowerPoint. I sent this to you earlier in the week. Live sessions are mandatory. Participate in the discussion. Go to that. Exam review sessions, not mandatory, but highly encouraged. Exam reviews are held outside of class time, and you'll hopefully get the schedule in the next day or so. And I think I told you, we're going to give you the schedule for the whole term. So you're going to have exam review schedule for exam 1, 2, 3, and the HESI, so you can plan ahead. Okay. Encouraged to attend review sessions of other instructors to hear the same thing in a different way. So, and you have the benefit, I think we have 5 community instructors. So all of us will be doing a review session. So you have the benefit of attending. You might find that Professor Lundy teaches in a different style that you like and you learn from. So you attend her reviews. It doesn't mean you only have to attend mine. And we do take attendance at the review session so we can pass on to each other who is attending. Because if you look at the red at the bottom, students that participate actively in these 2 interventions tend to have higher test scores, as many as 20 points. And the 2 interventions are review sessions. And then if you choose to do one-on-one tutoring, okay? So the one thing I need to know, if you guys, anybody that's repeating this class or any other class, let's say you're considered a repeat student because you didn't do well in another class, not community, just any class or community, please let me know. Shoot me an email if you're repeating. And then also shoot me an email if you have accommodations. I was just thinking about that. I need to know about students with accommodations. Okay. And then here's our breakdown. We took this right from the syllabus. Okay. So you only have 4 KGAs. You have 3 exams, weeks 3, 6, and 9. And then your HESI in week 11. Okay. Vulnerable populations, that's a big one. That's 8%. That's due in week 9. And we'll talk about this in a couple of weeks, but do not wait till week 8 to do this project. Just don't. It's a research project. The expectations you call around to your community health, public health department, get demographics of the group you're picking. The sooner you can get this done, the better. But don't wait, because it is worth 8% of your grade. Okay, and then your professional development plan is due this week. And just for the record, that's my favorite assignment to grade of the whole term. I love reading your professional development plans. They're inspirational, they're motivating. I love hearing about what you're doing and then what you want to do. They're just awesome. So I can't wait to get into those this weekend. And then you're gonna have 2 group projects. I know people roll their eyes when we do group projects, but we do have 2 group projects. One's going to be due in week 3, and that's this case study, Healthy People 2030. I'll send you guys out a list of groups over the weekend. It's due in week 3, and there's 3 different case studies. I assign each group a different case study, and you work through it and submit your findings. That's the first group, and then you'll stay in the same group. And then in week 7, there's a infectious disease paper due by your group. And I assign you infectious disease like HIV, measles, flu, and you guys do a research paper on it. Okay, it's not simple. It's very simple. Okay, you've got NCLEX questions. Everybody knows about NCLEX. You have 4 sets of 50. There's 2 HESI case studies, which I have to figure out how to upload this weekend. We've had problems uploading from Elsevier. It's not due till week 4, but I don't have the case studies uploaded yet. There's been some technical issues, so I'll see if that's been resolved. And then you have a Kaplan assignment in week 10, and then discussion questions, group projects. So you actually have 3 individual discussion questions, and then 1 that infectious disease group project in week 7 is considered a discussion question. Okay. Anybody have any questions about that? It's pretty manageable. Okay. I'm a big believer. Well, I'll talk about this. I'll wait. Homework grades, I'll turn on in week 6. Okay. That way you can see how your homework is affecting your grade. And everybody knows what that means, right? You'll be able to see if your homework is bumping your grade up or pulling your grade down. Okay. Hopefully it's bumping it up. You already know this rule that you need a 78 before any homework credit can be added in. Minimum passing grade of 78. You all know that. We do use ExamSoft in this class. I'll be uploading the exam. I'll be downloading the exam for you to download next weekend. I usually do it on Friday night or Saturday morning. For you guys, you have to wait the whole week to take the exam, but you have to have it downloaded before you come to class. So for Friday classes, I usually suggest when you get the email from me that your exam's ready to download, just download it. Download it then, rather than thinking about it all week. Okay. There's nothing new with ExamSoft to report from last term. The only thing I would suggest is that you jump on there in the next week or so and make sure your account's up and active and running and nothing's happened. I don't know if you have any exams in MedSurg or Peds. Do you have any exams next week in MedSurg and Peds that you will need to go into ExamSoft with, or is community going to be your first exam?
We don't have anything for
Okay.
it, just a quiz.
Okay, so your community exam is going to be your first ExamSoft in week 3. So go in and just double check your account. Things happen. Okay, so make sure it's up and working. Okay. Okay, so anybody with accommodation needs to notify me at the beginning of the term. Just because you had accommodations last term does not mean we know about it. Notifications less than 10 days before an exam may not be able to be granted. So let me know. Now's the time to let me know. Exams are held during your scheduled class time. So this is the time we'll have our exams. All right, exceptions with written approval and copied to Dean Brown. So if something's going on, if there's a one-off emergency or something's going on and you're not going to be able to take the test on Friday mornings, you got to let me know ahead of time. Okay. And then this is new, this last bullet. I've had it's been increasing over the last couple of terms. Exams can only be proctored with a faculty member on campus with a 72-hour notice. It must be done during the scheduled class time. So the last 2 terms, like for example, Centerville, my Centerville campus last term, all 8 students took their exam on campus with a proctor, with one of their instructors. So they didn't even come to online. They went and took it all together. And it worked out perfect. They were all together, took it on a Friday morning, or I think this was a Wednesday morning. And they had an instructor that agreed to do this for all 3 exams. It worked out beautifully. So if you would prefer to take your exam on campus and you have an instructor that's willing to proctor you, or a group of you, I have a ton of Columbia students. You know, I don't know. It's up to you. But if you have a proctor, instructor that will proctor a group of you on campus on Friday morning, that's fine. That's fine. I don't have any problem with that at all. You just need to let me know who this instructor is so I can reach out, you know, 3 or 4 days ahead of time, because she'll need the passcodes and stuff. But not a problem at all. That's been increasing over the last 2 terms for me. Students wanting to take it on campus. So no problem with that at all. I just need advance notice. You guys know about exams, they're proctored, you show your ID and yada, yada, yada. Okay. So missing exams will be held to the same late work policy. Number 1, you got to let me know. Exams missed without prior notice, so letting me know is just an automatic 0. If you don't show up, you're going to get a 0. Exams missed for personal reasons will result in the late penalty with notification. Again, it's all about communication. So you will be able to take it up to, if you've let me know there's something going on, you will be able to take it within the first week with the 10% deduction. And then if it's missed due to an emergency, of course, we'll work with you. Okay, we need documentation. I have to submit it to Dean Brown. It has to be occur within 24 hours of the scheduled exam. And then you'll have up to a week to complete it. Okay, I have no flexibility with the late policy. I just don't. Okay, And this is really important. This is why it's big bolded red, right? So contact your instructor with issues that may prevent you from being successful on an exam before the exam. Okay, I can work with you. Contacting me with issues after you've taken your exam is not going to work. It's removed any opportunity for us to work with you because you can't retake the exam. Okay, so we want you to be successful, requires you to communicate before you are not successful. Okay, so again, it's the communication is key. And I would say that in any given term, I'm a pretty open communicator, but I would say in any given term, 90%, if not more, of the issues are all have to do with communication or lack of. Okay. Contact me if you have any problems or if you would just like some additional help. Okay. Yeah. Homework. You guys, I'm assuming you've made it this far. You already know how to plan, prioritize, complete work, and submit work. Okay, you can review this slide on your own. It's slide number 26 if you have to go back to it. Same with slide number 27. This is plan and organize. Everybody has their own way of planning and organizing. I use my phone calendar. I put in everything. That's just how I mean, I have a paper calendar, not a paper, but online calendar, but my phone is my calendar. I don't know how you guys do it, but whatever you do has gotten you to this point. So keep doing it. But you're going to have to step it up a notch this term. You got a lot going on this term. And I acknowledge that with peds and med-surg and community. Okay. And if you need any help organizing or time management, reach out to me. We can talk about things and I can try and help you with whatever strategies, that other students use that have communicated with me, what I use. I'm happy to help in any way. Okay. The one thing I don't want to happen, and it invariably happens every term with some students in each class, they put this class on the back burner. They get busy with med-surg and busy with peds. And it's like, oh, shoot, I forgot to do community. Shoot. And then they just kind of blow it off. And then by the time they realize it, they've already bombed the first exam and they're having to expend all this energy for the rest of the term trying to catch up in community, stressing them out while they're trying to deal with med-surg and peds. And it just snowballs. Every week it snowballs. So I can't stress enough not to do that, because you don't need community stressing you out every week when you also have med-surg and peds. You just don't. Late work, we already went through that. NCLEX, everybody knows NCLEX. Everybody knows where to get NCLEX topics. They're right in your module, right? They're right in your NCLEX page in your module, whatever week it is. Tells you what to select. And always submit, you guys know this, just do a block of 50. Okay, don't do 225s or 510s. It's not going to help you. There's a reason why we ask you to select 50 at a time, because it gives you a comprehensive selection of questions from what we've asked you to select. And then the other thing about NCLEX that I'll tell you is don't submit me anything lower than a 40, okay? Because, well, number one, they count towards your grade, obviously, but if you've submitted me something in the 30s, then you probably haven't learned a lot from the NCLEX assignment. And I'm a big believer of rationales. Anytime you can get a hold of rationales, it's an excellent source of learning, whether it's case studies, Kaplan, NCLEX, exam reviews, the rationales. So if you're doing an NCLEX and you start and you get a 20, you guys know that you can redo NCLEXs, right? You can only submit one, right? You can only submit one, but you can do it 10 times. Did you guys know that?
Yeah, I knew that. Yes.
I mean, I knew we could redo it. I just didn't know how many times.
You can redo as many times as you want. So if you start out and get a 25, go back and read all your rationales, learn from that, and then redo it. And then you'll be to 35. Nope, 35. I still don't want to submit a 35. Go back and look at the rationales you missed again. Okay, that's where you learn. NCLEX isn't just something thrown in there to, you know, cause you stress of another assignment. There's a reason you're doing 200 NCLEX questions. Okay, it's a practice for your NCLEX. So take advantage of it. Now, if you submit me a below 40, I'm going to politely put your score in, but I'm also going to give you a comment in the, I'm going to make a comment in the section under that. And I'm going to say, hey, Jasmine, I'm going to use you for example, because I can see you and Yolanda and Hillary. That's all I can see right now. So let's say Jasmine turns me in a 39. I'm going to say, hey, Jasmine, thanks for turning that in. I have reopened because you can only do one submission. I have reopened this assignment for you if you would like to improve your score. And leave it up to Jasmine whether she wants to do that or not. Okay. If she does, she'll resubmit it and I'll put in the 50 that she gets on the next time. If she doesn't, that's up to her. But NCLEX is really, really an excellent learning opportunity. And there's a reason we do it. Do 200 questions. Okay, so is that clear? I'll accept your 20 or 30, but that's with the assumption that you probably didn't learn a whole lot. You just kind of went through it and went through it quick. Okay, so take time with your NCLEX assignments. Take your time. Okay, remember community in your exams and your HESI, especially your HESI, is very med-surgy, peds focused. It pulls in everything. Everything. And your NCLEX questions during community pull in everything. That's what we mean when we say we're pulling everything together. So if you say, that seems like a med-surg question, it probably is. We're doing med-surg in the community. We're doing pediatrics in the community. We're doing geriatrics in the community. We're doing fundamentals in the community, right? So what else do I want to say about NCLEX? There was one other thing I wanted to say about it. What was it? I don't know. Anyway, so that's my, so last term, I think it's my PN program. We have an NCLEX due in week 11. It is, it's not this, don't worry about it. I think your last NCLEX here is week 10, but we'll look at the syllabus. But everybody was rushing through it. Everybody was rushing through because it was due in week 11. I had grades of like 15, 20 out of 50. And so that, you know what? I just made the assumption that a lot of students didn't get a lot out of that assignment. NCLEX is there for a reason. Oh, I know what I wanted to ask. You guys all know where your student resources are that you can do practice questions, right? I want to see everybody's face here. I'm going to stop share. You guys do practice questions on your own, right? Every week.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. The answer is yes. Right?
Right.
Right. You guys need to set a limit. You're going to do 50, forget NCLEX, forget that for a minute. Set yourself a personal goal to do a certain amount of questions per week. You cannot practice enough. Okay, so anybody that's not using their resources is crazy. It is an excellent, excellent resource, and it just builds upon your NCLEX assignments in this class. So I can't encourage that enough, to have a set of NCLEX questions or beyond, your practice questions. Okay, I cannot stress that enough. The more practice you can get with these kinds of questions, and that's why I think I want to spend some of my group activity in some of the classes. I have a whole bank of NCLEX practice questions too, and bring those to you.
Thank you.
You can't get enough practice with NCLEX questions. I mean, when are you guys taking NCLEX? Let's see, what is it, October? You're probably taking NCLEX next spring, right?
Sometime in May.
Yeah. Yeah. You're in the home stretch here. All right. I just wanted to see your faces. Okay, let me go back. All right, so NCLEX. Where are we? Okay, and that's what I just explained. You can repeat the questions as many times as you want to obtain the highest score, but just submit one. I like this. I don't know. Dr. Lundy must have put this in there. You are the master and the controller of what grade you receive, not me. I like that. You guys know we can't accept screenshots, right? Everybody knows that. You have to, I can't stress this enough, you have to access all your assignments through the modules. Okay, you have to. Otherwise, it's not going to populate the right way and you're going to end up with 0 credit. So don't go into like www.evolve.com to get into your NCLEX questions. Don't. Everything needs to go through the module. Okay, because if you don't go through the module, you end up with screenshots. And we can't accept screenshots. HESI case studies and practice exam. What do we want to say about this? Oh, your HESI case studies are going to be 2, hospice and disaster management. I think they're doing weeks 4 and 7. I haven't uploaded them yet. My apologies. I was having technical issues and hopefully those are resolved. I'll get them uploaded this weekend. But you shouldn't be working in week 4 stuff anyway. That's my excuse. Everything needs to be addressed through the module. Okay, and this is where it creates a problem. If you don't access these case studies through the module, it just becomes a huge problem. And we have to get Dean Brown involved because it doesn't populate and it has to be reset and it's just a headache. So just do it through your module. In your case studies, I get the grades automatically. You don't have to send me screenshots. I get them, they automatically populate. Screenshots not accepted. Access by any other method will result in a 0. Okay. I sent you guys a resource for writing papers and discussion posts. I sent you guys a cheat sheet on APA. At this point, you should know APA. You should know how to cite your sources, and it's in your student resources as well. Okay. The other thing I'm going to send you, I didn't want to bombard you, is I have a whole instructor bank of test taking tutorials. So I'm going to send you guys some test taking tutorials. How to break down a question, how to eliminate answers right off the bat, how to read a question, how to pull out important words and phrases in a question. So students in my previous terms have found these really helpful. So I'm going to send you guys some resources too. If you want to read through it, great. If you don't, it's fine too. But let's see. You guys know how to follow rubrics. There's your APA, which I've already sent you a resource. Oh, the other thing I'm going to send you guys is some math resources. Okay, I have some really easy cheat sheets on formulas and how to set up equations and all that. So I'm going to send you some math resources as well for those of you that struggle in math. Okay, you can take advantage. Again, these are all I'm just throwing them out there. Use them if you want. I found them to be helpful in previous terms. What's this now? No. Exams, well, I'll review this at the beginning of each of the exams. If you're having issues during the exam, you just stop. And we'll review this when an exam comes up, right? It's no different than last term. Okay, although I'm pretty hardcore when we start the exam. Once I give out that passcode, everybody stays on mute. Nobody comes off and says, hey, I need a resume code. We do all that kind of communication through the chat, or you call me, or you text me. But once we get going on the exam, it is like you'll see my response, like I jump off my chair if somebody comes off and starts talking, because it just interrupts everybody. So I have a pretty, not strict, that's not the right word, but just out of respect for everybody else. Okay, so yeah, that doesn't work on my exams, is coming off and talking. But there's plenty of other ways. And I also during exam will give you, I'll have you write down 2 numbers, my number, and then I'll have you write down ExamSoft support, because students do have technical issues during the exam, and you can call ExamSoft support. Kaplan, we don't need to talk about right now, but you have the Kaplan assignment in week 10. And you guys have done Kaplan before, right? So you know about remediating every question and all that. HESI, we'll take in week 11. You already know about HESI. We just got finished with it. You know, the remediation and all that. So we don't have to go through that right now. Exam security, you know about. Things we'll go over during HESI week. We'll cover this when we get down to week 11. Okay. Okay, that's that. So the next thing I want to go over is your module. Does anybody have any questions so far? Let me stop and anybody have any questions so far?
Yeah. You said oh, do I want to ask? Okay, so all the things that you have to submit to us, like send to us, can we get it in the announcement? You said you will send things to us, like things to review. Are we going to get it in the assignment, or where are we getting it? In the announcement?
Oh, getting what?
Like all those review, the math.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to send you in the next couple of days the study guide for exam 1 and the master review schedule.
Okay, on the announcement?
Yeah, I'll attach it in an announcement. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Good question. Thank you. What else do we have? Are things manageable at this point? Everybody doing okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Kyle, can you turn on your camera, please? Okay, let's go to the module. Okay, syllabus. You guys reviewed the syllabus yet? If you haven't, you can go in and look at your student. I suggest you read the first page because it goes through what's the course description? What are we going to be doing? We're going to be introducing you to community. Am I sharing my screen? Because I can't see anybody.
You're not sharing.
Well, how come nobody told me?
You said you wanted to see us.
I want to see you guys. Okay, can you see me now? Can you see this now? All right, so what does this course do? It introduces you to community health nursing. We focus on historical development, the philosophy of community nursing, healthcare systems, epidemiology, and we look at specific target groups. We talk about primary, secondary, tertiary activities, right? And it's emphasized as we relate to either individuals, families, groups, and aggregates. Remember, I told you community nursing is about you may be taking care of an individual, a family, a group, or the population. Okay. And think about, and the other thing about community nursing is we're going to do a whole topic on rural nursing, rural and migrant nursing. That's all part of community nursing, right? Read your student learning outcomes, course objectives. There's your textbook. There's one required textbook. Guys have a wonderful resource bank. Okay, what do we do? Interactive lessons, discussions, written assignments, quizzes. Here's your, we already went through this, but here's your grade components and values. All right, page 3. We already went through the 78 key graded, nothing gets added in. We went through that. HESI exam, 1 attempt. Okay. Course activities that are not graded assignments, right? We already went through that. Okay. And then here's on page 4 is here's your late work right here. Okay. The summary of it. Okay. So here's what I want to review. Okay. So here's your weekly outline. Here's our weekly outline of what we're going to do during class. Okay. This week, I'm going to have to send you a recording. Okay. So this week has, what do we have? 6 chapters. Public health, nursing, population health, history of public health, global health care, evidence-based practice, health equity and care of the vulnerable population. So that's your introduction. Okay. So on the left side is what we're going to cover, what we're going to do. In the middle column is your readings. And the third column is your assignments. Okay. So that's what my recording will be, is going through this. Now remember, go to your objectives first in the chapter. That's what I want you to pull out of the chapter. You don't need to read every chapter from start to finish. So 6 chapters seems overwhelming. I'm not asking you to read 6 full chapters. I'm asking you to look at the objectives and then go read those sections. Does that help?
Yeah, that helped.
Seriously, no, I'm actually serious. Otherwise, you're going to think you're responsible for reading the book from cover to cover. You're not. There's certain things we pull out of each chapter that are important to understand that concept. Okay, so for the chapter of evidence-based practice, okay, chapter 9, go through and read the objectives. Okay, there are certain sections of that chapter that are important to be able to understand what the concept of evidence-based practice is. Okay, the reason why I like to pull up the syllabus is look at, you know, we've already identified lots of things that happen in the community, but look at the things we're going to be covering. All right, yeah, great. History of public health, we'll cover that this week. Evidence-based practice, we practice that in the community just like it's practiced in the hospitals, right? We certainly want to be doing best practices in the community as we do in the hospitals. So evidence-based practice carries right into the community. Right? Healthcare systems drive community nursing, public health nursing. We talked about vulnerable populations. And then next week, since we're here, let's just review it. So next week, we're going to talk about the school nurse, healthcare issues in communities, family health risks. Really important to understand that in community nursing. We're going to talk about common childhood ailments and safety concerns. All right, so that's what the chapters are for next week. Chapter 20, 21, 22, and 31. School nurse, family development, family health risks. And chapter 22 is huge. So chapter 21 and 22 are huge, okay? Family health risks and health risks across the lifespan. That's kind of our foundation of community nursing. Okay, so let's look at our assignments for next week since we're here. Next week, you have a discussion question. So that means that your initial response, guys, needs to be turned in by Wednesday, right? Everybody get that? And then your peer responses are due a week from Sunday. Next week, you have your NCLEX. You have till Sunday to turn that in, okay? So you have NCLEX, we'll do our attestation in class, and then you're preparing for exam 1. So by the end of next week, you'll already be attending a review. exam 1 is only weeks 1 and 2. So week 1 will be my recording and week 2 will be what we cover in class next week. Then we're already ready for our first exam. Okay. And then let's see. I'm just going through some more topics so you have a better understanding of what community nursing is. Here in week 3, we talk all about rural health, migrant health, poverty, homelessness, teen pregnancy, mental illness, alcohol, tobacco, other drug problems, substance abuse in the community. These are all issues in everybody's community. Right? And then we'll talk about the government and law. How does the government play a role in community health and public health? We talk about what is the role of the home health nurse, the hospice nurse, the faith community nurse. And then we get into environmental health. Think about it. You all live in a community zip code. Do you guys know what the environmental risks are in your community? Do you guys live near a railroad? Do you guys live near an airport? Or do people live near a railroad? Do people live near an airport? People live near incinerators? Are those all environmental risks? People live in high crime areas? Okay, so we'll talk about environmental health, the risks. Anybody ever see the movie with Julia Roberts? I always bring that up when I talk about environmental health. What was it called? What?
Aaron Brockovich.
Aaron Brockovich. Aaron Brockovich is all about environmental disasters. Okay. We'll talk about epidemiology. That's what we've been doing with COVID for 2 years. Nurses in public health, community health, do epidemiology. We track things, right? Things are reported to us, we track things. COVID, flu, pertussis, food poisoning, right? That all happens in the community setting. And we talk about occupational. What's the importance of an occupational nurse? Well, their job is to keep the workplace safe. That's community nursing. And then in week 8, we start talking about what are the big roles we play as a community nurse is education, right? How do we do a community assessment and evaluation? How do we do health education in the communities, right? How do we teach? Who do we teach? What are our strategies? How do we plan programs? What are the barriers we might face? So we get into that. And then economic influences in the community. And then violence and human abuse. We got to talk about domestic violence, human trafficking, child abuse, violence, partner violence. I mean, if you're working in the hospital, it's more than likely you're going to take care of patients who are victims of abuse. How do you recognize that? Because remember, they're coming from the community setting. And then infectious disease prevention and control, extremely important in the community. Right? What we've been doing for the last 2 years. Okay. Then we'll talk about disaster. Disasters happen out in communities. What's our role? What do we do? How do we prepare for it? What are our expectations? Right? We look at surveillance and outbreak. A little bit of epidemiology in there, but we're responsible, like as a school nurse. When I was a school nurse for 20 years, I was responsible when a parent called in for pertussis or chickenpox or whatever was reportable. Your school nurse surveils, does the investigation along with the public health department. So that's what you're doing in the community. What about an outbreak of TB? Quality and safety. We do QI in the community just like they do in hospitals, right? What are your quality improvement activities? How do you assure that your teaching in the community is being evaluated the correct way, right? Your ADPI. So again, with all these topics I'm going through, we have to think of ADPI. ADPI in, let's say, ethics. Ethics in the hospital. No, that's not a good example. There's disaster management. That looks a lot different in a hospital setting than a community setting. The way you manage your disaster. Okay, ethics is part of our foundation of nursing. So we talk about ethics in community nursing. And then I'm a big stickler for this next one, the cultural influences in community health. Right? We talk about how to be culturally competent. Okay, and you have to be culturally competent regardless of what area you're working in nursing. Right, we have such a diverse culture world right now that it is a no-brainer that you are going to be working with multiple cultures. Multiple. And so I really focus on the cultural, how do you become culturally competent? I mean, how do you open your mind to learning about different cultures and values and beliefs, and how do you apply all those into your plan of care for your clients? Okay. Then week 9, we put it all together. We have an exam that week. Okay, so that's your syllabus. So you guys just thought community nursing was just this, go into the community and go do a home health visit. It's a little bit more than that. Had you thought about community nursing expanding to all of those topics?
No, I just thought about like the school nurse.
Yeah. Community nursing rocks. Community nurses are rock stars. Public health nurses, community nurses are rock stars. And they have certainly proven themselves to be that in the last couple of years. We're the ones who have taken on so much responsibility with the pandemic. The only other thing I wanted to share, you guys obviously know how to read. Where are we? Modules. Right, so you guys know how to navigate through this. I just want to go through week 2. So week 1, your professional development plan. Week 2, we organized a little bit better this term. So here's your discussion question, your NCLEX, and your attestation. Okay. Well, this here is wrong. The instructor will make group assignments for upcoming coursework in weeks 7 and 9. That should say weeks 3 and 7. Week 9 is your vulnerable population. So anyway, just make note of that. Then if you want to know, before I send out the groups, what you're going to be doing with the case study, you can just click on it. Right? There's 3 different case studies. Your group's going to be assigned either case study 1, case study 2, or case study 3, and it tells you what to do. Work in groups. You'll have one of the 3. Look at the rubric for it. It's not that hard. The purpose of this is to work in a group. Can you effectively work in a group? Can you communicate? Do you have good team dynamics? What do you do if somebody's not pulling their weight? Okay. And then if you want to go in and read about week 9, your discussion, your vulnerable population, it's right here. Okay. So if you want to go in and read about that, it's in week 9. And if you want to go in and read about your second group assignment, it's right here. Okay, this is the one where I'm going to assign you guys an infectious disease. Okay, and then you write a quick e-paper on it. Okay, addressing those things. Everybody picks apart and does that. You know, I don't really. If you reach out to me, like I've had lots of groups that have had issues with the first group project, from participation to people aren't responding. and they take what they learned from that into the second one. But I don't have a lot of issues, but I'm gonna really expect you to resolve things on your own. If somebody doesn't participate, they get a 0 for that group grade. That's just the way it is. You know, if I hear from the team that Haley hasn't responded to 5 messages about getting this case study done, Haley gets a 0 for that. Haley, you're in my top left box, which is why I said your name. Anyway, so let's everybody pull up their week 1 attestation.
Quick question while we're pulling it up.
Uh-huh.
In regards to the group assignments, how would that work? Like as far as we would just communicate through Canvas?
Yep. You guys should have everybody's emails, right? That's in your Canvas. That's it. You have everybody's emails. So somebody just usually takes the lead, Hillary, and says, hi, I'm Hillary. Jasmine, you're in my group. Alicia, you're in my group. Juanita, you're in my group. Here's our group. What do you each want to do? So it's group dynamics.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Think of questions if you have them, but let's do the attestation. The first question about the late stuff. Is that the first question? What's the late policy? Yes, no?
Yes.
Okay, so number one, you've got to communicate with me. That's number 1. And then the late policy is, if anybody wants to put it in the chat or so everybody can see it and copy and paste it. So let's review it. What is it? What's the answer?
10% off within the first 7 days and then 0 after that, I believe, right?
And what happens before all that?
But you have to reach out to you and get
Yes.
them approved.
Yes. Please put my number on speed dial. Put my email on speed typing. Whatever. Okay. And before I forget, for all of you that came in a little bit late, please put your name and your campus in the chat. That's how I take attendance. So if you're not in the chat, you're going to get an email from me later today that said, hey, I didn't see you in class. Because I can't remember every student in all 4 of my classes. I just can't. I mean, I'll get to know you over the term, but like this week, I'm just getting to know you. So if I send you an email that says, hey, you weren't in class, what's going on? And you send me an email back, said, yes, I was in class. I did my attestation. I'm going to say, okay, well, next time, please put your name in the chat. That's the only way. That's the most accurate way to take attendance. So get your name in the chat, please. Let's see how we're doing. I don't see that on my week 1 attestation. You don't have the questions? Don't you guys have questions on there?
I do.
Yes, ma'am. Well, I do.
Huh.
3 questions.
It's not like an individual question. They might be thinking it's like a question you click to answer. It's just
No. You're just, just a type in Word document or who just sent me that message? Oops, wait. Where's my chat? I don't see on my week 1 attestation only asking the date. Samaria, where are you? Samaria, you don't see where it says what's the late work policy?
Make sure it's the right class.
Are you in 206? I can't hear you.
Let me.
Yeah. And then we'll keep going. Hang on, Samaria, I'm going to wait for you. The second question, what's primary care? What's primary care?
Can you hear me now?
I can.
Okay. Yeah, whenever I go to the 206 class, and because I have assignments, it says personal development plan, and then it says week 1 live attestation.
Yep.
click on that, it's just asking for like, it says I attended the week 1 live session on this date, and then I input the date. That's what mine says.
And that's it.
That's it, just one question.
Huh.
Mine has that as well, but when I scroll up for the quiz instructions, that's where the questions are on mine. But I don't know if hers the same.
Okay, Samara, will you try that?
For the quiz instructions, right above question 1, it has 3 questions under the quiz instructions.
Oh, okay, I see. All right, I'll take the quiz again then.
Oh, did you find it?
I found it. It's like on top. It's just 3 questions on top.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, so what's primary care, guys? What's primary care? Yeah, there's a fancy definition in the book, but what's primary care? Is primary care about prevention?
I was about to say, that's like immunizations, right? When the patient come get like
Trying
shots
to
and-
prevent things before they're happening. So in community, primary care is prevention, trying to prevent things before they happen. Right? Secondary is early identification of issues, and tertiary is they already have an issue. Right? But what's primary care? Primary care is, think about when you go to your primary care, you're going proactively for like an annual visit. Right? What are we trying to do? Prevent. So does anybody want to have a formal definition of primary care and put it in the chat for everybody? Or is everybody just typing away? If you did any prep reading for this class, you read about primary care.
Primary care is like you teaching the person before the disease occurs, like the vaccination and other things the person needs to know. before-
Education.
Yeah.
Yep. Somebody just basic care rather than specialized level of care. Yep. Yep. Okay, so when you're done with that, hit submit. Just submit and it's off your plate. The other thing too with a Friday class is everything's due Sunday. And don't wait to come to class to know what's due this week. You should already be looking at that when you get my announcement on Saturday or Sunday. I know you don't have class till Friday, but I try and summarize for you guys what's due. So just because you don't have class till Friday doesn't mean you shouldn't be working on it. In fact, work on it Sunday or Monday. Get it done. Okay. So I went a little over what I wanted to because I wanted to give opportunity to work on it, but you got 18 minutes, gift of time, I call it. If for those of you that you do know, I want to show you, you do know that there's a template, right? You do know that there's a template for your professional development plan, right? If you don't, here it is. Okay, it's super easy. Okay, here's your professional development plan. Okay, and it tells you what you need to do. But here's your template. Super simple. Okay, so you take this, save it, and just start filling it out. Okay, this is what we need to know. What are your goals? So this is your paper. Just complete this. What are your short-term goals? Start your narrative, current position. Okay, so for those of you that haven't found that yet, it's there. Use that. It's an easy peasy template. And this isn't a difficult assignment. It's just, I want to learn about you. Okay, so, take a half an hour, start it now, get it done. Or at least start it, set it up. Do your cover page, set it up and start working on it. Don't wait till Sunday night at 11 o'clock to be doing it. Just don't work like that in this class. There's no reason to. Because I know you have med surge and peds hanging over your head too. Have I beat that drum enough today? Just trying to help. All right, I'm going to stop so that you can have 15 minutes of the gift of time and do whatever you want with that. Submit your attestation. I'll stay on for any questions. I'm going to stop recording now. I'll